Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Tonight, we have a terrifying and close to home story. It's called What Are the Dogs Barking At in My Backyard? Once again, this is an original horror story written specifically for this channel. So, if you would like to support these creative endeavors, please hit the like and subscribe. Let's get into it. I'm laying in my warm, comfy bed, somewhere between sleep and wakefulness, when I hear my husband, quietly, come to bed. Every part of our 3-story house creaks, reverberating in the silence. I glance at the clock, and it's 1:27 a.m. I've already been asleep for 4 hours. My 6-foot-tall husband, dressed in his winter flannel, creeps across the floor on tiptoes, with arms bent, sticking out like a T-Rex. He's about 2 feet away from the bed when he notices me looking at him. "Whoa, you scared me," he says as he jerks his torso back and brings his arms to his side. "Oh, yeah, sorry, kinda sleepy," I explain and turn to the right. He crawls into bed and I close my eyes. I immediately start to drift off when he adds, "Hey, I just got a text from our neighbor. It says she saw something in our backyard but couldn't be sure. She wanted to let us know before she went out for her shift. And that would explain why the dog just started barking." The racket from the dog slashes through the peaceful night air like a knife. We live on a small farm, mostly growing corn and a few apple trees in rural Minnesota, and the dogs have a decent-sized area to roam around our immediate house. However, we're essentially in the middle of nowhere. Our only neighbor, the one who just texted us, is actually my husband's cousin. Thinking about the text message and my dog's furious barking, my stomach grows cold, like I had left it outside this winter night. Suddenly thirsty, I reach over and take a swig of the water from the cup I always keep on my nightstand. After swallowing, I ask, "Is that the whole message? She didn't give a description of what she saw?" "No, that was it. You want to see it?" he asked, pushing the phone towards me. I wave a hand and shake my head. "No, I believe you. I'm going to see what the dogs are barking at." I get out of bed and follow my husband. I can't remember the last time I heard my dogs barking at night, and that scares me almost as much as the text message. What or who is out there? I can tell from the direction the barking is coming from that our 3 animals had used their doggy door and run outside. I run the last few steps to the ground floor and rush over to the window facing our yard, through which I can hear the dogs. They're standing about 100 feet away from the edge of our fence, barking at something beyond my line of sight. Our outside lights don't illuminate much past our fence, so to me, it looks like they're barking at a black void. "Should we call the police?" I hear myself say. It was like the words had floated out of my mouth, without me even asking them to do that. My husband stands next to me and responds, "We can't just call the police because our dogs are barking. Seems like people should call the police on us for letting them bark so late." "Let's get them inside," I say and open the back door. I shout, "Come on, boys, who wants a treat?" But they ignore me. Their barking deepens. It's the low, angry growl that lets me know something is truly wrong. Just then I hear another bark. It's shriller than our dogs. I grab my husband's arms. Is that what wolves sound like when they bark? Then to myself I wonder, do wolves bark? I focus back and rip open the door again. My own voice sounds shrill, but I attempt to sound encouraging as I yell, "Freddie, Ringo, Henry, peanut butter. Who wants peanut butter?" At that moment, I catch sight of what the dogs are barking at. It's the one thing that always makes them bark. Other dogs. But these dogs don't seem normal. They're bold. No longer cowed by our dogs, they're lunging at the short wooden fence. My hands shake and I fumble as I open the door for a 3rd time. "Freddie, Ringo, Henry, get in here right now. Right Now, I point at the ground and wave the entire jar of peanut butter around. Only Ringo spots the peanut butter and dashes towards me. I keep the door open and make a show of giving him peanut butter, hoping to inspire the other dogs before I grab Ringo's collar and force him inside. In the meantime, I could hear my husband on the phone with animal control. I hug and kiss the top of Ringo's head, relieved that the animal control has a 24-hour line. But then I hear my husband say, 40 minutes? And I want to scream. Shortly afterwards, he hangs up the phone. Animal control says we need to check the dogs for any signs of a bite. I'll check Ringo. You try to get the other dogs in. They always listen more to you. That's because I don't trick them with the treats, I say, and I shake my head that this isn't the time to start a fight. Still gazing back at my husband, I open the door for a fourth time, but when I turn my attention outside, I spot two unknown dogs sprinting towards me with the telltale foaming mouths and bared, vicious teeth. Rabies. I slam the door shut and hear these new dogs with their high-pitched voice barking inches from the door. At this, Ringo pushes against me and returns the strange dog's barks. Ringo is a large, stubborn, and overly protective Bernese Mountain Dog, which means he's well over 100 pounds, and it's difficult to get him to move at the best of times. Right now, when he thinks he needs to protect his whole family, I'm finding it impossible to get him away from the door. Together, my husband and I grab him by the collar, drag him upstairs, and shut the door. In my head, I think, 1 dog down, 2 to go. We run back in the direction of the window, and I freeze. With only the dining table between us is one of the strange dogs. He must have figured out how to get in through the doggy door. My husband stands next to me, and we are both empty-handed. I rack my brain for something that could help us. Behind me, about 10 feet away at the door leading upstairs, I hear Ringo crying. I'm afraid to move even a single muscle. I'm trying to not even breathe. Even if I wanted to open the door behind me and allow Ringo to sacrifice himself for us, it would take too long. The dog would attack before I even got close to that door. As I flit through these thoughts, my husband picks up one of our living room chairs and hurls it at the dog. The chair hits the far end of the table and misses the dog completely, but it causes him to back up several feet. My husband picks up another chair, and the dog snarls at him. I cover my face. At that moment, our other dog, Freddy, enters through the doggy door. He's bleeding and limping. One of his front legs is turned out at an angle. He spots the strange dog and immediately charges it. The rabid dog whips around to face him, and Ringo goes crazy against the door behind me. Go upstairs, my husband yells towards me, but there's no way I could do that. I grab one of the dining room chairs and place the back of it under the door handle, locking Ringo upstairs. I can't lose all 3 of my dogs tonight. I hear a cry from my husband, and almost like I didn't have feet, I fly towards my office, grab the hunting knife I always keep in my desk drawer, and then hurry towards the kitchen. My husband lay on the kitchen floor, one hand covering the bicep of his other arm, and blood everywhere. My dog, Freddy, lay motionless. The rabid dog turns to face me, one leg tucked up towards its body, and a deep gash along its ribs. It raises towards me and I widen my stance, knowing that running wouldn't help me. I hold the knife firmly in my hand, and as the dog opens its mouth to bite me, I plunge the knife as hard as I can into the top of its mouth. The dog shudders and backs up. It staggers a few feet and slumps over. I pull the blade out and drive it deep into its left eye. I stumble, slowly, away from the dog, but it doesn't move. Not even the steady rise and fall of breath. I rush over to my husband, and he's still breathing. Reassured, I sprint to find my phone and call 911 to explain the situation. I tell them my husband was bitten by what we believe was a rabid dog. The dispatcher tells me to immediately wash the bite area with soap and hot water. After this, I only needed to sit with my husband until help arrived. We lost our 2 heroic dogs that day, but we survived. In the end, be careful about owning a doggy door. Sometimes your dogs aren't the only ones who can get through it. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe, or check out one of the videos on the screen now. I'll see you in the next one.